In childhood, we used to cry for hours to get the toys we wanted. We can still find some of those toys tucked away in the storeroom or buried in old bags, but now we don't care about them anymore. Then in school, we used to stress over completing assessments. With so much dedication, we used to arrange and decorate them. Now, when we find some of those old notebooks on our bookshelf, they no longer hold any significance. When we left school and entered college, we cried so hard at the thought of parting away from our friends, promising to stay in touch forever. Now check your contact list. You will be lucky to find any of them. For those who lived in hostels since childhood, leaving their parents and going away was one of the hardest things to do. The world must have seemed empty to them not just for a few days but probably for months, maybe even for years for some. But now, in our 20s, if someone asked us to live with our parents, it would probably feel like one of the greatest burdens. Here, the difference is unlike those old toys or assessment copies, our parents still matter to us. The issue lies is how differently they think and live compared to us. When we first fall in love, it feels like one of the best experiences in the world. We dream, we cry, we smile endlessly, and we can't imagine a future without that person. But 90% of the time, after dedicating ourselves wholeheartedly, we don't end up with that person. Then, a few years later, if we cross paths with them in a random place, we might just exchange a smile. Even if we talk, we act as if it was just a phase of immaturity. And most of those 90% of people move on so smoothly that it hardly matters to them anymore. When we land our first job and the manager says we are like a family, we initially start to think of them as a family. But soon enough, we get entangled in office politics, job switch, or relocations. After a few years, that memories of that first job offer or the lunch event photos with that first team fades away. And so it goes step by step in every phase of life. This perhaps is what defines life. Over time, everything changes. And the most notable change is our priorities, as I have illustrated with these examples. What we crave for in one phase of life often becomes irrelevant in another phase of life. Yet we are always chasing something. In school, we run after ranks. In college, we run after jobs and careers. During our careers, we run after love, then children, and so the cycle continues. I have often heard the advice that patience is the key to achieving success. But based on my own brief experience, I have realized that the patience does not necessarily help us achieve what we want. More often, it leads to us losing interest or becoming tired of trying, eventually accepting that it's not meant to be. For example, I have seen many people try for years to land a government job, eventually give up and turn to business or some other field. Many wait years for their love to reciprocate, get tired or lose interest, eventually marry someone else, or choose to remain single. Even if I do eventually achieve what we have patiently waited for, it often does not give us the same happiness we expected during all those years of waiting. I once knew a woman who loved Rasgulla very much. Coming from a lower middle class family, she always avoided buying it, thinking the money could be better spent for the well being of her child. I asked her once and she said, "Once my child get a job, I will eat Rasgulla every day." But after her child landed a job, she developed diabetes. There's a time for everything. Patience is not always the best approach. I have seen people afraid to confess their love in time lost it forever. So it's better to go after what you want right now. You might not get it even after your best efforts, but you'll avoid the regret of never having tried. Because in the end, most likely, we will throw away the toys we once cried for. We'll forget most of our friends except a few. We will have the option to live with our parents if we choose to. We will move on from our first love and love our life partner even more. We will switch our job and find a better team there, but we'll still regret the chances we didn't take in life.